Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. Today is going to be a fun one because we're not ranking stuff that actually exists. We're going to be sort of ranking a bunch of stuff which we want to see happen in the Schmoedown. And basically for this, my objective was you can be as creative as you want, and I was not making any limitations. You can make it as possible as it can be to happen, or as outlandish. And as I said to them, like, you can, if you want to see, you can do it as with retired stars coming back if you want, or you can do fan leaguers coming up. No matter how realistic, it will be just something creative that you want to see happen. But with me, I've got for the first time, I've got Albert. Albert, how's it going?
Hey, yeah, this is my first time here in Rankum. I'm excited. I'm doing okay for the circumstances that's going on around the world, but I'm doing all right.
Yep. And also here we've got Kevin. Kevin, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me again, Malcolm. Always great to be on Rankum, and just looking forward to another great show.
Yeah. And how how this works is we're going to go round the board, and we're going to throw out a match we want to see happen, and then the other two people are going to say yes or no whether we think will be a good one, interesting one to see. Whatever reasons we've got to say no, we'll say it. But and then at the end we sort of we're going to rank them in order of what we would want to see most, least to most, something like that. Yeah. But I'm going to go to Albert first. Albert, what is the first match you would like to see happen?
Okay, so the first match that I want to see happen, and this is just like sort of random. I just thought of it, and I'm like, I think this will be very interesting. Both players have played in teams before. They've solidified themselves in teams, but they've never, as far as I recall, not played in singles. And it will be Jim Vejvoda and Tom from Tom and Paul. I think that will be a very interesting battle in terms of rock stars versus the Tom and Paul is the Den. So they'll be very interesting. Jim Vejvoda versus Tom. They both have personalities, and they both seems like the type of player who don't really study, they just rely on knowledge. So that will be something very interesting, and why not?
Jim Vejvoda versus Tom is on the board. Kevin, what do you want to see this match?
It's not a match I wouldn't say no to watching. It's just not something that that flew into my mind. There are a lot more combinations that I think I'd rather see in a top 12 list. So unfortunately, I'm just going to have to say no to that one.
Yeah, this is one I didn't think about it, but now that I think about it, I mean, I'd love to see Tom in a singles match, full stop. And I'm actually going to say yes to this because this is a match that could be really interesting because both of these players, if I'm not mistaken, have been really good players on their respective teams. So this could be a really high-scoring match. So, and I can't spell Vejvoda, so I just put V. So, but
that's why I didn't say
it. But Kevin, I'm going to go to you next.
All right. My first nomination is going to be a fan leaguer versus a current star. It is Jeremy the Atom Adams versus Dan Merle. That's one that I feel like everybody across the community and the fan leagues feels like could be a realistic showdown. It could actually come down to the wheel or even round 3. Even as good as Dan is, Jeremy is fantastic. I know he just recently retired, but he's still around, so we'll still call him a fan leaguer. So yeah, I just want to put that one up for now.
But yeah, I didn't think it was possible with the way I proposed this list to actually have one stolen from me, but you found it. Because Jeremy versus Dan is absolutely on my list as well. And this is one that could be bulled because they bulled Ben versus Dan as the greatest of all time versus the greatest right now. But this is literally the GOAT versus the GOAT because
Absolutely.
Jeremy is undisputedly a GOAT in the fan leagues, and I'm absolutely saying yes to this. Albert, what would you have said?
This is interesting. I did not thought of this one, but this is definitely something that I would very much like to watch. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jeremy is a writer in the Schmoedown, isn't he?
He is.
I believe if this were to happen, this probably will be the first time a writer competes. So that will be very interesting.
Oh, yeah, true.
And yeah, I like that idea a lot. Yeah.
But yeah, it would be, and I know, like Jeremy has said to this in the past that like he's happy writing for it. I don't think it will actually compete, but this is definitely a good dream match anyway. Because,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's to Me Too thing, and I'm going to go for one that ever since this person was announced to be going up to the Schmoedown just recently. There's a reason this is the first one that came to mind. This is the one I've been championing for a long time, but now that the other person I've gone playing has retired, but I'd like to see this at an exhibition match, even though they don't really do them anymore. But Rachel Cushing versus Robert Parker versus Stephen Colbert in a Middle Earth match.
Wow.
Because I mean, Cushing and Robert are both really big Middle Earth fans, and from what I've heard, Stephen Colbert is up there. Just to see these three titans going at it in Middle Earth, I hope they've got enough questions because this could go down to many rounds. But Albert, is this a match you'd like to see?
Once again, did not thought of this at all, but if I say no, then people will probably hate me because that is an insane combination. And like you said, I don't know how long the sudden death's gonna go. There can only be enough time in a day for a match to last. But yeah, that's definitely yes for me.
And Kevin, what would you have said?
Like you said before about Jeremy and Dan, I don't know how we did it, but I don't know if you can see it, but I wrote Robert v. Rachel right there. And I was going to say a Middle Earth match. So I would definitely put my stamp of approval on this one. I definitely am behind this one all the way.
But we go back to Albert.
Okay, so yeah, I'm looking at my list, and you guys mentioned some very good matchup that can be like very entertaining and lots of knowledge in as well. I'm looking at one, and this one just stands out so much, and it's just for a pure entertainment factor. And who knows, maybe it's going to go to sudden death and going to be very fun. It's going to be Brett Sheridan and Cody Hall. That feels like that's just a dream match in the making. Cody, I believe, only played once. He lost, but in a really close one. And Brett's 1-0, and it can happen. It can possibly happen this season. So I really that's something that I actually want to see a lot.
But Kevin, Brett Sheridan versus Cody Hall is on the table.
Brett and Cody would be an interesting match. Again, not on. I feel like this is going to be a quick list, and I'm afraid to pull the trigger on matches that I'm tempted to say yes to too quickly. So with that, I'm going to say no to this one.
Yeah, this is one that I didn't think about, and I mean I love Brett Sheridan, and I'd love to see Cody Hill back. And I can't remember what team has drafted him, but he's I'm pretty sure he's guaranteed to get at least one match this season. But this is one that I'm going to have to say no. Like, I love Brett, and I know that Brett was happy to compete, but this is what this could be. This will be an entertaining match, but I don't know how much people want to watch it, because I know a lot of people like the high scoring trivia matches as well. So this is going to be one of those ones that I'm going to say no to. But Kevin, we go back to you.
I think I'll go ahead and put the first teams match on the table. And it's a fan league team, probably the greatest fan league team that I can think of since I've been around, versus one of the premier now. Well, I guess not retired. I don't really know the status, but he was just recently drafted. JT was recently redrafted, so I guess it could be re-put back together. The Patriots. It's the Patriots versus Wild Stallions. It's a match that I think they would match up very well. It would be a competitive match, and it would be taken deep into a high scoring game. So just to put Brian and Joseph, all of us, out there on the table against JTE and Draco, the Patriots. Yep, that's my nomination.
Yeah, and that Brian has sort of let me know that Cody's in the Finstock Exchange. So, yeah, when you said fan league team, this is not the one that I thought you were going with. But then again, it's not the Schmoedown team I thought you were going with. But I'm actually saying yes to this, because this could be a really interesting matchup. Because Wild Stallions had been incredible with the matches they've done, and I'm not gonna lie, I think if they could easily beat the Patriots even when they were at the highest. So this is gonna be. But Albert, what would you have said about Wild Stallions versus Patriots?
I like the idea of bringing the Patriots back. I'll be honest, I'm not too familiar with Wild Stallions. I know Brian Michaels is very good. I'm not too familiar with his team partner. But it's interesting. It's an interesting matchup that could happen. You're bringing the greatest team of all time in the Schmoedown versus the greatest team of all time in the fan leagues. So if that's a matchup, that will be an interesting one.
But yeah, back to me. I'm going to go for an IG match, and this is one that is going to be in the vein of when we had Wiley versus Dan versus Roker, having the first three belt holders, the singles champion, going at it. I'd like to see what will happen if we get Robert My Burnett versus Hector Navarro versus Jason Inman, the first three winners of the IG belt, just in a three-way match, just to see sort of who would be out there. Because all three of them, for one way or the other, are kind of not really competing much this season. Just because Robert My Burnett's the manager, and I think Hector's stepped away for a bit, and Jason's retired. But this could be an interesting match. Just see out of the first three belt holders for the IG is the best. Albert, what do you make of this idea?
It's a good idea. Seeing the original three. I guess if it's just like for fun, it will be. I don't know, like what context is this going to be, like a number one contenders or just for exhibition purposes? But do you have anything in mind in particular, or?
Well, like for all these, I'm just thinking of these for fun.
Yeah.
Okay. It's one of those ones like when it comes to number one contenders match, just pitching number one contenders matches is not going to be easy anyway. Just because,
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting idea. I don't know. They were good back then. I don't know how good they are now, but I believe Inman is still good. I have a bias towards Inman, but yeah, I'll give that a yes just because Inman's there.
Kevin, what would you have said about one more Burnett versus Hector versus Jason?
I'm a big fan of Inman, so any match with him I like, and I love the personality behind Burnett. So if you put them two together, I'm probably going to say yes. Hector Navarro, I could kind of go either way with, but throw him in the match anyway. Yeah, I would have given it a yes.
But we go back to Albert.
Right. Sticking in the realm of Inner Geekdom, there is two Inner Geekdom players who unfortunately never met up with each other. And it's Kevin Smets and Rachel Cushing. And man, I will die to see that match. That is just such an awesome pairing. And I know they're friends in real life as well, so that could be fun to see that. And I don't know what else am I supposed to say. It's just Smets and Cushing. It's just those two household names alone. So yeah.
Kevin, what do you say about Smets versus Cushing?
I mean, Albert pretty much covered it when you said Smets versus Cushing. That's a dream match in and of itself. It's one that I always hope for a Rachel comeback at some point. And all these matches may come to fruition that we come up with. But yeah, I have to put my approval on this one for sure.
Yeah. Smets versus Cushing is definitely going to be easy yes for me as well. This is one I wish we had seen happen, but unfortunately, Smets made the mistake of not telling Peter instead of Terry. But it's one of those ones when you're under the lights, it's easy to make. But Smets versus Cushing is the one that I would have loved to see. And we've got Nico in the chat asking what did he miss.
Nico.
So just to recap the matches that we've got on the table at the moment, we've got Jim Vavida versus Tom, Jeremy Adams versus Dan Merle, Rachel versus Robert versus Stephen in a Middle Earth match, Wild Stallions versus the Patriots, Robin Burnett versus Navarro versus Jason Inman, and Smets versus Cushing are the ones we've got on here. So already halfway through and we're barely 20 minutes in. So, but Kevin, we go back to you for your next pick.
Let's see. Man, I knew this was going to be a fast one. Let's dip back into the fan leagues. I know I keep going back to that watering hole, but an interesting one I think would be Jake Marangoni versus Ben the Boss Bateman. They're both excellent in like Oscars. So they're like their strengths kind of line up together. So it'd be interesting to see just how they would face off with today's question lineup, and it's just something I would like to see. They both like to wear the sport coats, and I don't really get to talk to Jake much, but I see him all the time. So yeah, and they're both really good with movie release dates too.
Yeah, I mean, Jake is one that he's definitely really good. And this, I'm not going to lie, I didn't think of one for Jake just because I had a hard job thinking of who to pair him with against.
Yeah.
But Jake versus Ben is probably going to be a really good match because, as you said, they're both really good at movie release dates. They're both generally really good overall. So Jake Marangoni versus Ben Bateman is going to be easy. Yes, Albert, what would you have said?
Yeah, I like this matchup. Jake definitely knows his stuff, and Ben the Boss Bateman as well. And it's like what Kevin have said. That could be a very interesting pairing between Jake and Ben. So yeah, that's good for me.
It's back to me. And what this is one that actually just came to mind just because I saw him in the chat just then. And this will be the first one in this division that I'm going to bring up. But I think a interesting pairing is Nico versus Ken Knapsack in Star Wars could be a really interesting match because they're both people that have been former managers. They're both really good in Star Wars. And I mean, they're both entertaining. But so this could be a really great match. So Nico versus Ken Knapsack in Star Wars. Albert, what do you say?
Nico versus Ken Knapsack in Star Wars. That both of them know their Star Wars. One of them wrote a book about Star Wars. I'm pretty sure the other one read the book from Star Wars. I stole that exact same joke from that one scene in the Schmoedown. But yeah, I like this. I like this pairing, and Nico is in the live chat, right? So he's probably like giddy right now. So yep.
Yeah. But Kevin, what would you have said about Nico versus Ken?
Again, we agree on this one. You said you just came up with this one, but still, we came up with the exact same one. Nico and Knapsack Star Wars match. They both, like you said, have being the manager role. They both have the personality to hold up behind. They could even hold a storyline if they wanted to. So that's interesting in and of itself. But yeah, that would be an interesting match for sure.
But Albert, we go back to you.
Okay, so this one is another dream matchup for myself, and now I guess officially all of them are retired players. But yeah, I guess now they are all retired players, and arguably two of the best teams in Schmoedown ever as well. And we never see them face to face, so I want to see Above the Line versus Shire Wolves. It's just too dominant team at their time, so yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think it was going to happen had Sam not retired. So because I think that would have been the next matchup regardless. Kevin, what would you say about Above the Line versus Shire Wolves?
Yeah, I was already nodding my head, but yes, Above the Line and Shire Wolves is definitely a dream match. It's something that we all kind of hoped would happen, that Sam would come back for one more match and make it happen, make it so. But we haven't seen it yet. But there's still hope, I guess. Not gonna give up on that one. But yeah, I'm gonna say yes to ATL versus Shire Wolves.
But yeah, Kevin, we go back to you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Also, I would have suggested this too, because it was
Oh,
on my
okay.
list.
I got you.
I realised I hadn't actually
I was like
talked about, but there's not much. There's not much to say because
you're right. You're right. All right. Let's see. I think I'm gonna go. We just did manager versus manager. I think I'm gonna put up an intro player for this year who's already been brought up, but I'd like to put it as an inner geekdom match. It would be Robert Parker versus Kevin Smets. I think it's bound to happen at some point. So I'd understand if you guys don't, if you think it's going to happen and you don't want it on the list, but I would be remiss if I didn't go ahead and put that one out there because that is a dream match of mine.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one that sounds like is a really good match idea, and I mean, like as of yet, it hasn't happened, and we don't know if it's going to happen because we don't know how much they've formed so far. But
sure.
but this is one that I think will happen. So I'm actually going to lean towards no on this, not because I don't think it's a good matchup, because it is,
Yeah.
but just because I think that it's bound to happen eventually, because
I kinda
it's
do
going to depend on if Kevin holds the belt against Mara, which I'm pretty sure he will, and all that. But Albert, what do you say about Robert versus Kevin?
Yeah, I initially had it on my list as well, but I actually removed it for the same reason that you said, Malcolm, because yes, there's gonna be a dream matchup, but it's eventually gonna happen. So I
Yeah.
wanna make space for things that is possibly never gonna happen, but it's just like a dream scenario. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't blame it. I don't blame you at all.
But yeah, for my next matchup, I'm actually going to do something different here, because it's fun, and it's going to be one that it's going to be really interesting. I'd like to see a couples match between Sam Levine and Rachel Cushing versus Dan Murrell and Mara Knopick.
Oh,
This is one that, and I know there's a lot of other couples in the Schmoedown, but these four people, it's going to be interesting how it happens, because on one side you got Rachel Cushing and Sam Levine. Both are really good in general movies. Rachel is really dominant in singles, and on the other side you got Dan, Mill, and Mara, who's once again Dan is really dominant in singles. They're both Mara's really dominant in a geekdom. It could come to an interesting match, and also the other fun thing about this match is Dan and Sam have played each other. Mara and Rachel have played each other. So this could be an interesting way to get a what if scenario rematch kind of tag scenario in there. So, Albert, what do you say about this couples matchup?
Okay, so you're probably thinking this is gonna be like just a straight general, general singles teams, like general knowledge, right? What if I propose to you this? You know how in multiplex they had that 50-50 match between Phantom Fights and singles? Imagine if they used that format for this one, because you got Rachel and Mara in there. So that will be I think that's just perfect. But I like the idea. Alone on its own, I like the idea.
Yeah, no, I mean that would work as well, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how much Mara is, how good she is at general. So if you make it 50-50, then at least it covers her basis as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I was actually going to say the same thing. I thought you were going to mention the 50-50 split between the IG and then Sam and Dan having the general movies covered. So that would be an interesting way to pitch it. I would say yes either way. I like the idea of the couples match. So yes, I would say yes.
But yeah, 2, 3, 6, 9, 10. So that gives us 2 spots remaining. And I'm going to bring up a comment quickly before I go back to Albert. Brian mentions making a through off Mike and Shannon.
I thought about them when you mentioned couples. That's actually the first one that hit me for some reason.
I will say, I didn't want to. I did consider it, but I didn't want to do it because one, I don't know how much Shannon's wanted to actually compete, and two, that could be a little bit of a disadvantage for there, because with 2 dominant teams like Sam and Rachel and Dan and Mara, that will just make it a little bit too unfair on them. It could turn out Shannon is really good and could take everyone out, but yeah. Albert, what's the next match you're going to bring up?
Yeah, we have a few spots left, so I'm trying to decide which one I want to nominate. But I think I'll go with this one. So there was a team that I championed for the longest time to be an awesome team, but they sadly only play like 3 match or 2 match because either an accident happened or scheduling issues or whatever, and now they're no longer a team. But if they put them into a civil war type stuff, that will be very interesting. And it is JDE and Lon Harris, formerly of the Evil Geniuses. I like that idea of a team on paper. And since we're never going to see that, I want to see them face to face now. JTE versus Lon Harris. They both know their stuff. They're always very unlucky in singles. So put that together and we'll see what happens.
Kevin, what do you say about JTE versus Lon Harris?
I am gonna put this one in the it could happen like as soon as this year potentially. Ben, and it's not one that I love Lon Harris, and I'm not the biggest JTE fan, but I like the Patriots. The Evil Geniuses were that's kind of what made me not like him as much, but I'm gonna say no to this one.
Yeah, I love JDE. JDE is a cool guy, and Lon is great as well. But this is one that, with Lon's new gimmick of the delinquent, this is one that could actually be really interesting with, because I mean JD's been one that's really known to misspell a lot of things, and with JD versus Professor Lon, I think would have made a much more interesting match.
Yeah.
I mean, but Lon with this current gimmick, I don't know if pairing him up against JDE, who now would make it a pretty similar kind of style of match. I'm actually going to sadly say no, but if he goes back to his Professor gimmick, then I would have said yes. But sadly, we've got to take sort of where the characters are currently. And yeah, so I'm sadly going to say no to this, but it's definitely one that was a good one. And with Kevin, it could actually happen later. But Kevin, we go back to you.
And I just realized how bad it sounded when I say I don't like JTE. I don't. It's the character is what I mean.
Yeah.
not the person.
I get that.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of underlie say that. Since Albert is kind of leaning more towards the Schmoedown matches, I'll kind of just keep dipping into the fan league dream matches. One that I had that, since the list is short, that we have left, that I wanted to just bring up, and I'm afraid I'll miss my chance if I don't bring it up now, is INH team insert name here versus the Wildberries. They both, it's Jacoby and Tony Heald against the Wildberries, and I feel like Jacoby and Tony bring enough of the talent to the table to match up well with the Wildberries, and they're both got that like funny behind the table stuff and quick-witted, so it'd be funny. So yeah, I'm sure they both have like really funny entrances, that kind of thing. So yeah, that was one that I had to throw out there.
I did not consider this as a team match. I'm not gonna lie, I had Josh McCougar versus Tony in a singles match on my list, but I'm saying yes to this because insert name here is pretty much the Wildberries of the fan league, just the entertaining ones that are there to entertain and be witty, and to see a Wildberries reunion would be great.
It really would.
I mean, everyone loves Wildberries regardless.
Absolutely.
Albert, what would you have said about insert name here and the Wildberries?
did not thought of this, but as soon as you said, well, there is an insert name here, you can probably see through the camera that I keep on smiling because the thought of it just makes me smile, and it's like, yeah, that'll be such a fun match to watch. Just Jacoby and Tony alone with Josh and Elliot. There'll be a lot of fun. So yeah.
And I mean, it's one that they're going to need Nerd Product on hand with the swearing buzzers so much. Because we all know when Tony goes off the rails, he goes off the rails.
Yeah, that is true.
Which comes back to me, and I'm going to go for this one because it's going to be an entertaining match. And in a way, I'm going back to the fan leagues, but I'm not because they both are currently in the Schmoedown. But I'm going to go for James White versus Brandon Hanna. And this is one that I'm pitching this because in the fan leagues, they were both a team. So just to see them both face off as a kind of rivalry, because Brandon Hanna was sent up first, leaving James without a partner in the fan leagues for the longest time. So this kind of grudge match could come to head at the Schmoedown with them both facing off each other. Because they're both in separate teams. Like James is in the Burning Droogs, Brandon's in the Den, I believe. So James White versus Brandon Hanna will be a really entertaining match, and I think this is one that could be good IG because I know Brandon has a big IG person, and James White I know knows a little bit about IG and to be able to hang. But I mean, this is one that could be an interesting one. But Albert, what do you say about James White versus Brandon Hanna?
I did not know that they used to be. You said they used to be a team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That is very interesting. So in terms of yes or no in this one, I don't know much of like how good Hannah is in terms of like singles, and I don't know how good White is in terms of inner geekdom. And in general, I know I've seen a few matches from James White, but I'm still not too familiar with him. But just like putting them in terms of the field, either in both of them in singles or both of them in inner geekdom, I don't know how entertaining that might be. So just because I'm not too familiar with them too much in their respective realms, I'm gonna say no with this one.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Kevin, what do you say about James versus Brandon?
Kind of echoing Albert's sentiments. I don't know that much about. I kind of came in between their split up when Brandon went up to Schmoedown, and James was still here competing. I didn't ever get to compete against him or anything. So what competition I saw of him, it's not. Is it a good match? Yes. Am I glad you brought it up? Yes. But is it a dream match for me? No. So I'll have to say no on that one.
That's fair. Albert, what's the next match you're going to propose?
Okay, so this one is one that I thought of right as we shoot it. When you mentioned Stephen Colbert, I was like, oh, so we can put celebrities in here. Let's see what I can think of. So I thought of something right on the spot, and I don't know how good it is, but on paper it sounds interesting. But two competitors that is often recurring in Screen Junkies movie fights that are celebrities are Kevin Smith and Tony Revolori. And they definitely know their stuff in terms of movies. So why not put them in the Schmoedown realm and see what happens?
Kevin, what do you say about Kevin Smith versus Tony Revolori?
Okay. I don't know how smart Revolori is, and or as Jay Burns calls him, Tony Ravioli is at movie trivia, but I know that he would get spanked by Kevin Smith. I don't know how entertaining of a matchup that makes. So unfortunately, I'm going to say no to that one. It would be entertaining in theory, I think, but I think it would just be a waxing though.
Yeah. You said it. I'm going to say no too because, and if it gets back round to me, my next one might be involving Kevin Smith as well, but yeah, I'm gonna say no just because I don't know much about how good Tony Revolori is. So yeah, but Kevin, it's back to you to propose one.
I do like the idea of Kevin Smith though. So I may. No, I'm gonna stick with the one I had and just go with it. I'm gonna stick with my theme of fan leaguers and throw out Kurt Kolakowski versus John Roca. First off, they have a history. They've actually fought verbally or on the Schmoedown page, and Kurt got kicked off of the Schmoedown page. For those of you that don't know, I don't know if he wants me to tell him that, but sorry, Kurt. But anyway, he is banned, and because of that, because of Roca, and so yeah. Anyway, and that would make for an history match in and of itself. Now, Kirk is super smart as far as when it comes to the same kind of stuff that Roca's into, the westerns, the Tombstone, and all that stuff, and Godfather, that kind of crime dramas, all that classics. I think it would be a super interesting match. So I'm going to go Kirk versus Roca.
Let's face it, who hasn't Roca argued with on the
yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong there.
I mean, as much as I think this would be a great match, I'm going to say no, just on the fact that I think if they set up a match every time Roca gets someone booted off the Schmoedown page, then there's going to be a long line regardless. I mean, if you watch this, we do love you. I mean, we do.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a big fan.
So yeah, I'm sadly going to say no to this just because I wanted to come back to beat. But Albert, what do you say about John Roca versus Kirk?
Yeah, on paper this could be interesting, but I don't know. I'm leaning towards no. There is possible like actual bad blood and things could actually become a brawl if that happens. So we don't want that. But no. But yeah, I'm going with Malcolm, and I'm gonna go with no as well. Sorry.
All right, that's fair.
Right, it's come back to me. I'm going to go Kevin Smith versus Rachel Silverstreet. This is the one that I think is going to be a great match because I know that Rachel is a big fan of Kevin Smith, so this would be a dream for her as well to be able to play trivia against him. But yeah, this is one that I think will be a really interesting match, and I think Rachel's really underrated as a player. I think she can take on any challenges, really, and so I think Kevin Smith versus Rachel will be really fun, and I think this is one that could be really interesting too, just on how big a fan Rachel is of Kevin. But Albert, what do you say?
This could be very interesting, and like you said, like what you've said, all the arguments I agree with. So I'll give this a yes. This one can be a fun one.
And Kevin, what would you have said?
Yeah, as many times as she's put Kevin Smith on the wheel as her spinner's choice, I would have to say yes to this one as a dream matchup. That would be a dream for me to get to play against people I put up on the wheel. So that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, we've come to the end. Now we get to the fun part where we get to rank them, which is going to be just as interesting as when we do Oscar categories that don't actually exist. But just to recap what has made the list, got Jim Favorite versus Tom, Jeremy Adams versus Dan Murrell, Rachel versus Robert versus Stephen Colbert, Wild Stallions versus the Patriots, Robin Burnett versus Jason Inman versus Navarro, Smets versus Cushing, Jake M versus Ben Bateman, Nico versus Ken Star Wars, Shy Wolves versus Above the Line, Sam and Rachel versus Dan Amara, Insert Name here versus Wildberries, and Kevin Smith versus Rachel Silverstreet. Before we get to the actual ranking, Albert, is there any other ones you had on your list that you would have loved to see?
No. Well, sort of, but I cannot really think of. Basically, I was trying to think. I was afraid it's gonna come back to me, and I actually have removed most of my list because I was like, "Oh, that's taken," or I don't think that's gonna work. So I was trying to think of a pairing for Team Schmoes to face another film critic pairing, but I couldn't think of anything. So yeah, I just want to shout that out, I guess.
Yeah. And Kevin, did you have any on your list that you would have loved to see, but you didn't get a chance to?
Yeah, I got a couple I just wanted to shout out. All fan league pairings or matchups. Jay Burns versus Janine the Machine. Thomas Scully versus Kevin Smets in Inner Geekdom. Boatman versus Roca. Brian versus Ethan Irwin. And maybe Concept versus Team Action. That's what I had.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, Jay Burns versus anyone in a geekdom is one that I would love to see because I mean, the fact Jay hasn't been drafted, Jesus, weird.
I agree.
He should be drafted, but other ones that I had on my list, I had Shy Wolves versus the Patriots on mine. I just chose to not bring it up because we already had a match of two big teams up against each other. I don't think we needed both of them. One that I'd love to see happen, but Sam has said he's not coming back no matter what. But Alex Damon versus Sam was one that I would have loved to see. I had Corruption versus Final Exam, just to see Chance and Paul go at each other again. And this was the best way I could sort of do it without breaking my rule of not doing a repeat match, just to put the teams of Corruption up against Final Exam. And then the other one I had was James White versus Rachel Silverstreet. But yeah. But now we get to the voting part. So write down on the bit of paper or whiteboard the one you want to be at 12. I've already got mine written down. Albert, you got something?
At 12?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Jim Bavida and Tom at 12.
Kevin, what do you have for 12?
Jim and Tom.
I actually went a different way. But Jim and Tom is going to be 12, but I actually put Navarro and Inman. As much as I was the one that put it up there, but it's also one that that with Navarro and Robin Burnett, it could end up being a really lopsided match as well. Kevin, do you have one for?
I went ahead and put Robert Burnett versus Navarro versus Simon.
And Albert, what do you have for 11?
For 11, I had Wild Stallions versus the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be it's going to be Robin Burnett versus Navarro versus that, because that's what I've got on my board.
Mm-hmm.
This didn't change it.
I had that 3 on number 10, so it doesn't make much of a difference.
Exactly.
Two.
Um,
So are we writing down our number 10 then?
number 10, yeah.
Okay.
Albert, what do you have for 10?
Well, I guess since RMB went to number 11, so I'm moving this one to number 10. Well, Stallions versus the Patriots.
Kevin?
I said Nico versus Knapsack.
And I also had Wild Stallions versus the Patriots. I mean, it sounds like a good match on paper, but it's just one of those ones that could be. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
But yeah, for 9, I've got Nico versus Ken. Albert?
I had Jake Marangoni and Ben Bateman.
Kevin?
Nico and Knapsack.
Nico and Knapsack will be 9. Kevin, what do you have for 8?
I have Jake v. Bateman.
And Albert, you didn't change, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went Kevin Smith versus Rachel, but Jake versus Bateman will be 8.
Okay. So now 7.
And just to recap what we've got left, we've got Jeremy versus Dan, Rachel versus Robert versus Colbert, Smets versus Cushing, Shivels versus Above the Line, Sam Rachel versus Dan Mara, and insert name here versus Wildberries. I've still got Kevin Smith and Rachel. Albert.
Yeah, I have the same.
And
Okay. I went with Dan and Mara versus Sam Rachel, the couples match. But so it was the Kevin Rachel or Kevin
Smith versus Rachel.
Gotcha.
Oh, this is tough.
It is.
It gets hard.
That's what she said.
That is. I don't have my right word, but yes, that is what she said. Appearing soon in a tournament near you.
Albert, who do you have for 6?
I went with Jeremy Adams and Dan Murrell.
Kevin.
I stuck with the one I had the couples match.
Yeah, I also had Jeremy and Dan. Not that I think it's going to be a bad match, just because it, like, realistically, I don't know how if it will happen.
Sure.
And that's kind of where I'm basing these last 2 matches, because Kevin, what do you have for 5?
The same, the couples match.
Albert.
I have insert name here versus Wildberries.
I had Sam Rachel versus Dan Mara.
Okay, so that's off the table.
And the final 4 we have is Smets versus Cushing, Shywolves versus Above the Line, insert name here versus Wildberries, and Rachel versus Rob versus Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
Albert, what do you have for 4?
Sticking with insert name here and Wildberries.
Kevin?
I went Smets versus Cushing.
I also went insert name here versus Wildberries. Entertaining match, but realistically, probably won't happen.
Love to see that Wildberries reunion, though.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
depending on where this storyline for Elliot goes, who knows if it will happen.
Well, Rachel made it into all 3 of the top 3, so and 4 of the top 5. And
Yeah. I mean, I think Rachel is there for a lot of anticipated matches to be like dream matches, really, because there's
Same.
so many matches she could have had.
Yeah.
But for number 3, I'm going with Smets versus Cushing. Albert.
I had Rachel versus Robert versus Stephen Colbert.
And Kevin.
Smets v. Cushing.
And it's instead of putting the number 2, we're just going to go straight to number 1, because the other one's automatically playing number 2 anyway.
Okay, so write down our number 1 then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kevin, what is your number 1?
My number 1 most entertaining dream match is Robert Parker versus Rachel Cushing versus Stephen Colbert.
My number 1 is Shywolves versus Above the Line. And Albert.
This originally wasn't my number 1, but number 1 has been put down the list yet, so this is my new number 1, Shywolves versus Above the Line.
So Charles' brother one is going to be the finish off these banners.
Okay.
I mean, it's always nice doing a fun ranking which isn't really basically breaking things that already exist. It's always fun to do a dream one every now and then.
Yep.
Our top 12 dream Schmoedown matches we've got Jim Favorita versus Tom at number 12. Rob Monette versus Jason Inman versus Navarro. I don't think I put enough O's there. At 10, we got Wild Stallions versus the Patriots. At 9, we got Nico versus Ken. At 8, we got Ben Bateman versus Jake Marangoni. At 7, we got Rachel Silverstream versus Kevin Smith. At 6, we got Jeremy Adams versus Dan. At 5, we got Sam Van Rachel versus Dan and Mara. At 4, we got Insert Name Here versus the Wildberries. At 3, we got Smets versus Cushing. At 2, we got Robert Parker versus Rachel Cushing versus Golbeer. And number 1 is Shy, which is Above the Line. This was a fun list to do, and this is one that there's going to be so many different matches everyone wants. And if Christian manages to take some of these ideas and runs with them, I'll be glad.
Absolutely.
But Albert, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JA Wiradharma. Wiradharma spelled WIRADHARMA. You can find my YouTube channel. It's Jaw Movies, JAW Movies. That's one word. And yeah, I upload content over there. I just upload the newest episode of Not the Pigs, which is my new Schmoedown after show that me and my friend Kenneth does. And yeah, we talk about the free-for-all cancellation and everything that's going on in the week of the Schmoedown. So yeah, if you want to hear more about me talking Schmoedown, go check that one out.
And Kevin, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Facebook, but I wanted to plug somebody in my group. It's Sean Wasserkrug. He's known as Sean the Movie Crusader. This is his YouTube channel. He's like one view away from reaching a milestone. So you guys go subscribe, please. He has awesome new release videos and Star Wars videos. You name it, he does it. And they're awesome videos. I just subscribed to Albert's channel. It's awesome, so do that too. But yeah, you don't have to find me anywhere. I'm boring. So yeah.
I mean, you can find me over on Take 3 Productions hosting Late Night Take 3. Next week, I haven't decided what the topic's going to be yet, just because with everything with all the moves that are moving around, the ideas of topics is all over the place at the moment. I'll probably go pick a random topic and find people there. But and I'll also host Rankum. There's a poll up on the Take 3 page right now with the topics. So go vote there. So yeah, and I also host Full Metal Random over on the Full Metal channel. This week we've got a Smallville match between Sandy, Eli McKeag, and Ryan Permerson. It's going to be a lot of fun. So join us over there. But until next week, just keep listing shit.